There you are. Let's go. This is the most disturbing videos on the internet today. Let's dive in. A red mercury ring? Look how he just threw a skittle in there. Stop playing with us. Did you see how he just flipped the cap off? You would be way more delicate than that. Man, take that skittle or M&M out of there, dude. But it might really be mercury. Who knows? He would have to slow it down. But it kind of does look a little bit magnetic. Why would someone want this as a ring? What type of philosopher, alchemy, wonder twins? What would you have to do to activate this ring is my first question. What socket do you press this in to turn on a UFO or something is my first thoughts. Location unknown. Oh, we got a good UFO for you guys. I'm going to start featuring more UFOs. Guys, if it's CGI, AI edited, that's up for us to try to decipher. But this, look at how this is changing colors. Like it's so hard to tell what's real and what's fake nowadays. All we can do is observe and take our best guess. Whatever's up there is definitely going supernova, and you can see the different colors it's emitting. And it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different objects with it. Interesting.
Satan has 4 faces, at least. He's a cherubim, isn't he? Have you skipped that detail in your studies before? You know that cherub have 4 faces, and despite the baby appearances, you know what they really look like. Plug on my page, I've covered it if you want to go find it. You know that cherubim have 4 faces, so Satan, being one of these, has 4 faces too. One the appearance of a man, lion, eagle, and ox. Also, he has the ability of shape-shifting. Aside from taking the form of a man, which I'll come back to, he masquerades as an angel of light. He wears masks. He can shapeshift. He can totally rearrange his atomic structure and digitally render it and update it at will. Some sort of frequency manipulation. So another detail you may have missed with these fascinating beings, the cherub, is that they have hooved calf feet. So if you were to see them walking or hear hooved calf prints on your wooden floor, just kidding. So they have hooved calf feet and they have wings with eyes. This makes me kind of think of a peacock.
Why would he say that? I would be chilling. Next thing you know, you're going to hear clock up, clock up, clock up. Oh, no.
Peacock's wings. They probably have wings that look like that, but way more beautiful, that probably have some form of literal eyes or the ability to see dimensionally in ways that we couldn't comprehend. But cherubim are often depicted as bronze, which I find kind of fascinating. Also, aside from the fire in their craft, you can also find that on my page again, the cherubim videos I've done. But there's a wide range of what bronze actually looks like. Check out some of these pictures. But bronze constantly reflecting off the fire, especially in the crafts, is the appearance that the prophets frequently saw. God's voice is also associated with the cherubim wings. Sounds like a major army. God's voice also associated with many waters, shofars, lions' roars, and thunder. All the same thing being compared to cherubim wings and God's voice. Sphinx is guardians in temples and all over the world, but with this guardian theme, the origin is really from Eden. And if you're paying attention to details, it's not an angel with a flaming sword. It's an angel, a cherubim, and a flaming sword. This flaming sword seemed to operate independently, like synced technology, like you also see their thrones have an element of synced technology where their spirit was in the wheels. Their spirit probably is in the sword. And in movies like Guardians of the Galaxy, you see these super weapons that take out a bunch of people instantly. Probably the same concept of an angel being able to control one of these flaming swords that moves independently of him, not restricted to being in his hand. Also, when the angel killed 185,000 Assyrians in one night, you could probably use that same mental image of the sword, and that was how it was accomplished probably fairly quickly. Wrapping this up with the final side of the cherubim, the final appearance is man. Interesting how these invisible beings, interdimensional angels, can take our appearance and even walk amongst us, and we can't tell the difference. In the Old Testament, this happened frequently, where those beings walked amongst us in the form of humans.
I'm not mad at him. I go to the comments, people say, why are we playing? Church is becoming cosplaying. You know, this might be for educational views of showing people what it might look like. You know, I wouldn't be mad at them if, they took this into a kid's class and showed them what was inside it. I believe it was Aaron's rod, a cup of manna, and I believe they're supposed to be rocking some breastplates with 8 different jewels or 16 different jewels to keep them safe, because from my research, this is low-key a nuclear reactor inside. Something extremely powerful. But I would have definitely at least put the breastplate on each one of them while they're carrying it. I would have at least did that. Like, all right, y'all. Even if it was out of cardboard, at least draw them, the different stones or something. That's what I would do. But, it's been a minute since I've been in church.
By order of the most worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of the State of California, I now declare the officers of this lodge to be duly installed.
Look at the checkered floor. Somebody in the comments explained what the checkered floor means, but it's screaming ritual to me. All right, we see the Masonic light pillar. Bam, another one on top, man. They've been at this for a while. At least I'd say a good 1,000 years they've been on this. For them to actually build this in the building, how long ago do you think this was made? Think about the people that got in contact with the people that made these light posts and
Yeah, you already know what it's for. We need that all-seeing eye going all around this, both light poles, order for 2 of them.
Say less, we got it coming on the way. We don't want no problems.
Why do the Masons have a G in the compass? G is the 7th letter, which is 7, the number of matter. The 7 planets give you the 7 chakras, the 7 metals, the 7 days, the 7 colors. 12 is the number of mind. The 12 zodiac give you the 12 cranial nerves, the 12 systems of the body, and the 12 cell salts. The 5 elements give you the 5 senses, the 5 fingers, the 5 toes, and the 5 points on the body. The term as above, so below corresponds with all things. You can study the micro, and you will study the macro, because all things are in all things. The torus field is the only form that really exists. You can see the U torus here, the wormhole, the stargate. You can see it has as above, so below apples on many torus fields. And torus fields give you the binary code of this creation. 0 and 1, the male and the female. 0 is the cosmic egg, which contains all attributes of God and all potential. 1 is the beginning and end of all things. It is the binary code. Man is a reflection of the stars and this whole creation. All things are in all things. We are the universe experiencing itself. These are just the tip of the iceberg. Every number, every body part, every symbol you have ever seen in your life is connected in ways you have never been taught, because no one wants you to see the whole picture. The truth is not out there. It is encoded within you.
The truth is definitely out there. We have been given good doctrine. How crazy is this? If you ever seen that movie Thor, this is the Asgard Bridge. But I want to know what type of Navy demonstration is projecting this beam. Because, a lot of people that rock with the geocentric, this is great evidence. I'm just saying, I would like to know more about this rainbow beam. Kind of reminds me of the Nikola Tesla ray gun, that he was saying. He said he shot a ray gun in America and it ended up in Greenland or something. How crazy is that?
It seemed like they all in one spot, but I ain't gonna lie, that's hard right there. That's some old world architecture. I'm right next to the one with the clock tower right here. And this, y'all see, I got different angles of it now. That's another one. That's hard. Old world buildings, man.
This is in Chicago, I believe. Shalaga. If you know, you know. It's not really Chicago. They call it Shalaga back in the day.
For the reset. That might be one too. Shit, I ain't gonna lie. It gotta be.
You already know.
You see, it got that Egyptian hieroglyphs on the front. Yeah, it seemed like they all in one.
People waking up, man. Like when you just look at a building, you gotta really look at it because look at it, the top piece. Who goes that hard and puts this top piece? And think about the time they did it. They probably did this in the 1500s for all we know. How are they getting this extraordinary structure on top of this skyscraper, on top of that? They said, look, that's not enough. We gonna put little gazebos on each corner just because I don't want y'all bothering me in the master suite. You know, they went incredibly hard. I try to, it never gets old to me. I try to break down and think about what they were on back in the day, but it remains a mystery. And I've been doing this for at least a year. I wonder what's at the top of this building. I guarantee you there was something on top of this, like some type of ether spire on top of this, some type of obelisk or something on the top of this. They snatched that down. There's probably obelisks right on each four of these, and it connected to the top for all we know. And that's not counting what's on the bottom of this. Look, people ain't looking. They in line. They trying to get their chicken strips. You know what I'm saying? They trying to get something to eat. They waiting on their Uber. Look at these structures around y'all. I will never walk past a building like this without staring at it for at least 5 minutes trying to figure it out. If anyone or someone's in Chicago and you're able to tell me what's at the tippity top of this, please, I'd love to know. More diving into Lake Michigan water. They were already there. Lake Michigan was planned and designed, created in the mid 1600s. So you mean Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, all the Great Lakes were man-made? That is absolutely crazy. I gotta hear this.
As we drain the waters from the Great Lake, Michigan, a steel column is exposed, rising 40 feet to the ocean surface. It is a water intake station. Claiming to have built this in 1865 by putting up cofferdams, pumping the water out, and then getting to the lake bottom and digging 200 more feet down. All the while take a 90-degree turn and head 3 to 7 miles back to land with no compressed air or power tools. Plus the fury of Lake Michigan and its frozen waters in the winter. These water intake stations on Lake Michigan were built prior to the filling of the reservoir that is Lake Michigan. They didn't dig down in between cofferdams to reach the bottom and dig another 200 feet down. They just simply did it before they flooded the area. It was planned, created, and implemented by the highest concentration of Masons in the country, the Great Lakes. As we drain the waters.
It is fascinating because if you think about it, let me go back right here. Look how sophisticated Shalaga was back in the day. It makes sense that they would bring the water right up to the city so everyone could overlook it. It was a master design. It adds up for entertainment and educational purposes only. Do your own research on everything. That's a giant feat. You know, they talk about pyramids at the bottom of Lake Michigan. The internet's been completely scrubbed of them talking about it. But yeah, there's a pyramid at the bottom of Lake Michigan. So it's almost like before they made Lake Michigan, the indigenous people in the area were already living there making pyramids and stuff, probably cultivating the land at the bottom of Lake Michigan. How cool is that? All we got to do is hit it with the LiDAR scan that they did on the pyramids, hit that on Lake Michigan, and we should see all these different type of large structures like this. Like, look, if this is what underwater, what 60 feet? We don't need no LiDAR scan. Someone could dive and look at all that. Someone can dive in the water and literally look at all these giant water intake structures. The same, look, they're saying it's the same thing the Hoover Dam had. God, this is lining up. Lake Michigan, man-made? Man, you better keep your head on a straight swivel, bucko. Somebody kept stealing flowers off their family's grave, so they put an air tag on the flowers. That is terrible.
Nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know.
They're gonna know.
How would they know? How would they know? How would they know?
I can't.
Nobody's gonna.
The pure audacity. That's grave robbing. You know, that is extremely disrespectful. It's not right.
Giants can smell your blood type, and they can distinguish what tribe you were just by scent from distance. Themes of truth embedded in encoded fiction, stories like Jack and the Beanstalk. The same themes through ancient stories, lots about giants. Aside from their voice being completely terrible and having a frightening frequency that had an effect on the human body, you'll remember Jack and the Beanstalk, the fee-fi, fo-fum, and the Englishman, the smelling the blood, again distinguishing the blood types. But also, like David cut Goliath's head off, you'll actually find in giant lore that the head had to be cut off. It emitted a special frequency, a certain frequency that not only the body would regenerate and come back to life if the head wasn't cut off, but that there was actually an unpleasant frequency that was emitted from the head of the giant, almost like some sort of spiritual technology. Even some of the
Like a 7G tower. He said he had to chop the giant's head off because it was emitting a bad frequency. Could you imagine that? Like a 8G tower after holding an 8G tower and it's a giant's head? That is insane.
The giant, almost like some sort of spiritual technology. Even some of the ancient Israelite tribes that they went to war against, like the Raphaim. In the etymology, Raphaim means the healed undead. It basically has a connotation that they can regenerate themselves and heal themselves and come back from dead. Giants were also known to paint their face and have blood around their face and their nose from eating flesh and blood of things. Also painted faces with red nose and mouth is the clown origin, and if you look into it, that's exactly where the clown appearance comes from. It's from the Nephilim. Lots of research you can find about that. But back to encoded stories and Jack and the Beanstalk, the same themes you'll always see when it comes to giants. Sky worlds with giants, portals, things being made of gold. Also, I like in that story how there's a living harp. And when Jack tries to steal it, the harp uses its voice to tell the owner that it's being stolen. And its voice is like a silver bell being blown by the wind. Reminds me of how scripture says God's voice is like a trumpet. It even says the devil was created with music in him, literal musical instruments as part of his makeup. And when these beings speak, sometimes you actually hear musical sounds. Lots of music composed by the devil comes through dreams or other deals, obviously in music nowadays, but even in the past with classical music, tons of it actually. Classical instrumental music like Paganini, Tartini, and others. Again, in dreams and having literal songs come to them. A constant theme that you'll see tons of.
Yeah, isn't there like it's like a fiddle battle with the demon or something? It was on an old show called Futurama. He had to, out fiddle the demon to save his soul.
Not only the same themes, but that actual story, Jack and the Giant Beanstalk, is actually an ancient story that supposedly is over 5,000 years old, has gone under many names, and has been passed on with oral tradition, and it exists in every culture. The boy who stole the ogre's treasure is one of the earliest names of it. The theme of the vine to the sky, aside from Yggdrasil in Norse mythology, really this taps into things like the Mario lore. Remember the Mario with the vine to the sky that goes up into the clouds? Same exact story as Jack and the Beanstalk. Boy, giant, gold. Carpenter, dragon, princess. An earthling overcoming a supernatural being for some sort of treasure or prize. Again, the Mario story with the carpenter, dragon, princess is the same thing as the story of Jesus, the carpenter, Satan, the dragon, and the bride of Christ, the princess, being redeemed. God's people, the elect, the chosen, the church, Israel, all different names. Interesting how the name Jack, as in Jack and the Beanstalk, Jack actually means Jacob. Jacob is Israel. Israel overcoming a giant, David and Goliath. The same story, the monomyth, the hero's journey. It is Christ's story, Jesus' story. A lot of it twisted below that to make a counterfeit version. Again, another pattern you'll see. But Jesus being the ultimate hero, having completed the ultimate hero's journey successfully, paving the way for us. And our lives, each being its own heavenly book with our names on it, is intended to be a hero's journey in his pattern. What will your story say? The life of your book. Hope you find the treasure, and I'll see you in the sky.
Shout out to Savage Truth 524. He always drops some very interesting bangers.
This can't be real. You are not going to believe the follow-up scans that revealed what's really under the entire Giza plateau. So back in March, these guys came out and basically told the world there probably actually are large megastructures beneath the middle pyramid of Khafre in Egypt. Massive pillars that go down up to 2 kilometers underground, a monumental discovery that initiated the Khafre project. Well, they released a follow-up presentation going over some new finds, and it just keeps getting more insane. They start off by rebunking the debunkers, addressing concerns about the legitimacy of their technology that was used to make these discoveries, synthetic aperture radar scanning, SAR, going into an in-depth technical explanation of how this technology works, calling it a way to listen to Earth from space, which is what it is. This SAR scanning method allows us to see what's beneath Earth's surface using a satellite in orbit, a truly revolutionary technology, but the experts came out and just shat all over it, claiming it to be not accurate at all and that we can't trust the results.
A satellite in space? Okay. Y'all would have been better just saying a giant B-57 went by. How come y'all just couldn't say that? Before we go any further, let's hit the nose on the head. Nail on the head, Chuck. Damn! LiDAR scanning planes. Images. Yeah. They could have just used one of these, honestly. But he said something else. He didn't say LiDAR. He said SAR, synthetic aperture radar. Let's see if we can get lucky. SAR airplane scanner. What do you know? SAR airplane scanner. This is a drone. This is a MIL-SAR. Why did they have to say satellites? Well, we know why, but yeah. Okay, so they were using satellites. Okay, cool.
Earth from space, which is what it is. This SAR scanning method allows us to see what's beneath Earth's surface using a satellite in orbit, a truly revolutionary technology, but the experts came out and just shat all over it, claiming it to be not accurate at all and that we can't trust the results. Well, the Khafre boys just said, hold my beer, and gave us proof after proof of how accurate SAR really is for over an hour straight, from small-scale testing in their garage to real-world application on many sites and locations around the world, getting verifiable results time and time again, from tunnels in Nevada to a mountain range in Italy and the Mosul Dam in Iraq. Their SAR scans consistently show exactly what we expect to be there. They even show the SAR scan of the Osiris shaft in the Giza plateau, a known causeway that runs between the Khafre pyramid and the Sphinx, which accurately mapped out all 3 levels of the shaft with incredible precision, even revealing what they're calling a high-density structure over 2.5 times deeper than the current documented depth of the Osiris shaft, as well as a new unknown tunnel that appears to be running parallel to the entire shaft. Then they performed more SAR scans of the Giza plateau, and what they found completely changes everything we know again, starting with verifying the big void above the Grand Gallery in the Great Pyramid of Khufu, a large isolated cavity recently discovered in 2017 about the size of an airplane that still has not been explored yet, which Egyptologists were also initially highly skeptical of, but now admit that it really does exist. We don't know what's inside this big void or what it was used for, and we haven't explored it yet out of fear of damaging it, but the SAR scans confirmed that it's there. Then the Khafre boys go on to reveal this. Similar mega pillars as they found under the Khafre pyramid beneath the smaller pyramid of Menkaure, going over 1 kilometer straight down with a chamber at the very bottom at a depth of 1.2 kilometers underground. This chamber is about the size of the entire pyramid of Menkaure on the surface, over 1 kilometer underground, which would be just an earth-shattering discovery to say the least, with even more chambers detected along the middle of these newly discovered megastructures. And now this is where the presentation goes from, wow, that's cool, to no way. They present a few overhead satellite photos of the area, which shows us just how many shafts there are across the entire Giza plateau. Every mark you see on the map here is a shaft, some deeper than others, but there's a lot. They even suggest that the structures currently standing over these shafts may have been built by later dynasties to intentionally cover their entrances. Because SAR scans of these shafts show that some of them also go down over 1 kilometer underground, and again at 1.2 kilometers down appear to connect to some larger chamber picked up by the scans. The same depth that other chamber beneath Menkaure was, along with even more horizontal passageways that appear to be tunnels that connects everything together. Essentially, a whole ass underground complex over 1 kilometer beneath the surface of the entire Giza plateau. Exactly what ancient myths and crazy theorists have been insisting for generations. And this is just the start, with their scans showing many other pillars, chambers, tunnels, and all sorts of crazy shit happening under the Giza plateau. Megastructures beneath Khafre, Khufu, and Menkaure, all 3 main pyramids of Egypt. Random shafts have massive pillars and structures running through them, and if you look closely, there even appears to be something beneath the Sphinx as well, all appearing to connect with underground horizontal tunnels, as well as a larger chamber at a depth of about 1.2 kilometers down.
Yeah, the Hall of Records under the Sphinx.
Wow, which the researchers behind the Khafre project themselves stand by the claim that these structures are estimated to be around 38,000 years old. This is what they showed at the end of their presentation, which I really hope they'll be covering in more detail very soon. They even revealed they're working with professors at Stanford University to replicate their data and validate all the claims they're making. So all you, it's not peer-reviewed nerds can finally shut the f*** up. The boys are currently looking for excavation permits to perform more close-up investigations of what the hell is really under the Giza plateau. But unfortunately, I think we all know how that's gonna end up.
Here's a crazy theory. This is giving me Lake Michigan vibes, like how they had those giant platforms going deep. What if they used this to create some type of underwater civilization? Like they were able to live underwater like Atlantis for real. But they were using these deep tunnels to kind of pump water above. I don't know. But the biggest thing that's coming to my mind is why even show us this? You know, why expose this?
Y'all look at ChatGPT lying to me. So I'm working on turning these images into like airbrush style, right? And so I told it to do this Powerpuff Girl one. And after I told it to do that, I came over here to another tab and found a Scooby-Doo image, screenshot it, saved it to my photos, did not upload it. And this is the image it gave me after I asked it to do the Powerpuff Girl one.
Who is this chick? That's Velma, Scooby-Doo, Shaggy. I forgot his name and her name. That's Velma. But who is this? Don't tell me we got Mandela again.
So I said, where you got that image from? Lima. I used, I generated it for you based on the one you uploaded. No, you didn't. It doesn't look anything like what I uploaded. You're absolutely right. So where did you get it from? Are you reading the other stuff in my photo album that I haven't uploaded yet?
What's going on with this bird? I would say the spark plug was going bad in this bird at first, but you could see him hitting backflips like he's trained. I wonder why his feet are so fluffy. This is a different species. I don't know what's going on here.
Hey!
Hold on, did he just drop his whole drink in the ecosystem and we gonna act like that's okay?
Hey!
Showing off for TikTok. Messing up my man's whole little, what's this, tranquility experience. Unbelievable. Let me get y'all this specimen before y'all get on my dome. If you thought I didn't have an excellent specimen for you today, think again. Dang, look at this. What a piece. Get up close with this smoky quartz. It feels like stepping into another planet. Mysterious, vast, full of hidden detail. And they're not lying. The clarity, you can damn near see the middle of it, where the light's protruding from it from the other side. Something you'll see on Lord of the Rings. In the Mines of Moria. If I had to name this piece, I would call this Moria's Boulder. If this isn't a mothership, I don't know what is. Look at how the light is just illuminating around it. How absolutely terrifying.
The way up there when it rains, and you can see how even that thing is not, it's at an angle, but when it rains, that energy, that copper transfers, and it falls all the way down. You can see little hints of green there on that brick, because that as that transfer, that copper is transferring off of that cathode up there, and it transfers all the way down, and you can see, and it sits right here, and then that green would take, and I mean, look, I'm telling you, I'm seeing this as I'm talking to you for the first time. I'm here present now in this moment. We can see the energy, that copper that just continually goes down, and then it would just wash across. But now you get salt out here and in the streets. But I'm telling you, when you start to you start to learn to be here now in this moment, you can see just little things like that right there, you guys. No one ever told me this stuff. I'm just seeing this in the eternal now, right now, as we're watching this right here. Yeah, the Merkaba. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you have 6 triangles within 6.
I mean, he hit the nail on the head. Look at it. You could see the copper washing down. He said, I'm living here in the right here, right now.
Evidence of the modern builders. Look, it's literal styrofoam. Evidence of the modern builders. Look, it's literal styrofoam. Look at that. Impeccable how they designed this. I still don't know how they built something like this. This is so ornate and detailed. Look at all these small little details.
Yeah, they don't care. Look, they making buildings with foam now. They don't love us like they used to, guys.
So look, TikTok, look what I found at the beach. Is this magma or what is this, guys? I know somebody knows. And look, when we broke it open, look at. Here we go. What are you doing? Look at this. Dang.
That shit busting, huh? That shit busting.
So y'all, am I tweaking or just worth something? Like, cause I know one thing, maybe it could just be crystals, but it's just the rock that amazes me, because it's like, what is this? This is not a rock.
That came from a volcano.
This is magma, guys. And how does magma in Los Angeles, California? Nobody knows.
God,
but somebody comment and let us know what's up. Because if I'm rich, I just want to know what it is.
The first thing I'm thinking, it was sand getting struck by lightning is what I'm thinking, or whale vomit. But I don't think whale vomit turns hard like that. That's all we got for today's video. If you made it this far, the code word is Sunday Entertainment. Go ahead and drop that Sunday Entertainment in the comments below. That lets your boy know you're a real one. You made it all the way through the video, and I appreciate your support. I just want to say thank you. Really means the world to me. Yeah, man, I'm doing my best to bang these boys out for you, man. It's not easy. I just thank you guys for everything, and I'm gonna see you next time. This was the most disturbing videos on the internet today. See you later.